Hello everyone, I'm Dante and this is Dante Dakara and welcome back to the channel. I'm a teacher expat vet based out of Tokyo, Japan, and today we're going to be talking about money, but before we get into all that, of course, subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. This is part 2, so if you haven't caught part 1, that you can check up here in the corner, and that can give you that will give you part 1 of this video. This video is not going to make some people happy because I'm going to be completely honest about some money things, and I know that a lot of the people who watch my channel enjoy the fact that I'm completely honest about how I feel about some of these things, so I appreciate that, but this one is probably going to summon some ire, and that's fine with me as long as it's good conversation. So let me start by saying I do not like money, and every time that I say that to people, people say to me, you are speaking from a place of privilege because only people who have money say that they don't like it. I didn't like money when I didn't have money. And people said, oh, well, wait till you get money, you'll understand how great it is. To which I reply, okay, I still won't like it. And then later on, I got money, and I still didn't really care for it. Generally speaking, I understand that happiness is the goal, and like my path to happiness isn't derived from money. So I feel that money, generally speaking, gets in the way of either good policy, good conversation, or good progress. Like everywhere around the world, I'll let you figure out like where my errors lie as far as that's concerned. Please comment below if you believe that I have an error in my logic. That being said, money is necessary to survive. And we're going to be talking about how much teachers are paid in Japan, but we're also going to have a greater conversation about what is deserved, what is desired, and what is demanded, and whether those things are fair. Now, the word fair is not something that I like to use because fair is in the eye of the beholder, and those in power view fairness differently than those who are not in power. So we are going to talk about that, but I wanted to start with my personal philosophy with money. I don't like it. It's a necessary tool for me to do the things that I want to do, period. All right, let's get right into how much money I make, or how much money do I make doing my job as a teacher in Japan. I've been doing it for 4 years. So you can see up on the screen here somewhere how much money I make. Now, that's not a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look at it myself so that I can actually talk to you about what that is. So my total base salary is 232,625 yen. Not a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I made almost 3 times this much money when I was in the military. So it was a significant drop down for me. And yet, somehow, I'm still happy. Let's keep going. I'm not going to keep harping on that. My allowance, and this is a positional allowance based on the things that I do that are outside of teaching, that's 5,000 yen, which that will go up if I accept more responsibility. It'll go down if I deny more. And then my transportation fee, this is the cost of my train per month, which I've talked to you guys about before, how great this of a bargain this is, because everywhere in between my current location and my work destination is free for me to go to. So it's a really great deal when you live far away from where you work, which I do. Now I'm going to flip this over. You can see the deductions. The deductions are pretty standard fare for a teacher. You have your employment insurance, which is just that. If you're unemployed, you can collect some kind of benefits, barring you fit the criterion. Income tax, which income tax is the same everywhere. Income tax is income tax. Residential tax, this is taken out of my check. Some people have to pay it separately. It usually is paid quarterly, but because I have my company paying for it, they're not really paying for it, I'm paying for it, but for it coming out of my check, it got split monthly, which is a lot more manageable chunks. And then you have school lunch, which I do eat school lunch. It's great. There are a lot of people complain about it. I actually love it. And that school lunch is about 250 yen per day. You can do the math from there. And then you can basically do the math. I'll do the math up here to show you how much that is left over. It ends up being 200 and what? 48? Yeah, 248,000 left over. So that is not a lot of money. Like compared to what you believe or what you think, or really, honestly, other teachers don't think it's a lot of money. Do I think it is enough money? It depends. And a lot of you gave me questions this week, which I'm going to pull up those questions, about living in Japan and how much money that is, and is that actually a fair amount of money? And again, I caution you about the word fair. So one of the first questions I got was, I heard the cost of living is high. So if the pay is high, is the cost of living going to go up? And this is from Marred and Blighted on Instagram. Again, you can follow me on Instagram, polls, mini vlogs, a lot of daily content there as well. To answer this question, if we were paid more, if teachers were paid more, would the cost of living rise? Well, fun fact, inflation has not been a thing in Japan of late. Which, let's go back. Basically, is your money as strong after you get paid more money, or do the cost of goods and services go up as well? The answer to that question is that hasn't happened in the past, but the reason why I can't say for sure what's going to happen is there has not been a significant inflation of late, and there has not been a significant change in salaries in recent years. So I can't say for sure how that would work, but based upon what I see as far as the economy is concerned, and I'm putting on my economist hat here, the changing salary of one industry is not going to change the cost of living. I'll give you one more example. We were given 10 mon, which is, it equals out to being $1,000. Last year or 2 years ago for the stimulus package for coronavirus. That did not affect inflation at all. Just printing money and giving it to literally everyone in Japan, there was no effect on inflation. So I can't say for sure, but I don't think so. And from that question, we're going to get into cost of living. And the best way to show cost of living is going to a website called numbeo.com. And I'm going to go to it here on my tablet. But numbeo.com is a place that you can see, and I'll show you on the screen, the cost of living of different cities, and you can do comparisons and analysis of those two different places. And as for this, we're going to go with Tokyo because I live in Tokyo. But I've lived in Chiba and Ibaraki, and I can tell you the cost of living is significantly different in those prefectures versus Tokyo. So at the top you can see the comparisons and the of what a place costs compared to some other place. Like this uses New York. Tokyo is 14% less expensive without rent than New York, but the rent is 57% lower than New York. But New York isn't a good comparison, so wherever you live, you can actually put that in here to have that comparison there. But to summarize, it costs about 486,000 yen, 83,000 yen to live in Tokyo for 4-member family that does not include rent. Okay? That's a lot. Now you saw how much I made. I could not sustain a 4-person family on just my salary. Now, one thing I should add is this isn't my only source of income, so I don't really feel this pain like everybody else does. An important thing to note for later on, because someone talks to me about privilege, and we're going to get into that. But as you scroll through the site, you can see the cost of goods and services. You can see the cost of food. You can see the cost of utilities. You can see the cost of gas. And all of these things amount up to a lot of money. And that's before we talk about rent. When we're talking about rent, they're saying a 1-bedroom place is 145,000 yen. You're probably not going to live in a 1-bedroom place if you have a family of 4, for one. For 2, if you're by yourself, you're not going to live in a 1-bedroom place. Because probably you're going to live in a 1 room with a dining room and a kitchen, or 1 room with a kitchen. you're not going to get a 1-bedroom apartment usually. And if you're in Tokyo proper, you're definitely not going to want to do that because it costs too much. So the cost of living, generally speaking, in Tokyo is high. But here's the but. What's your quality of living? See, when we talk about cost of living, like there is some agreement upon what are the basic standards for which you need to pay for, which in this case we're talking about rent, gas, electric, water, phone, groceries, health insurance, and your pension. Those are the list of things that you're absolutely going to have to pay the cost of to live. But those costs are going to fluctuate based on your quality of life and what you require for your quality of life. That being said, what you view as a fair price or a fair cost for your services and what you demand for your quality of life is going to kind of affect each other. If you say your cost of living is very low and you get paid so much more than what your cost of living is, then more than likely your quality of life is going to be higher because you have more disposable income to do whatever with. That being said, if your cost of living is high and the amount of money you get is low or you have lower disposable income, odds are your quality of life is going to be low. Now, there are some outliers here, people who just care about paying the bare minimum and that's all they need. Those people, they're outliers. Or the people that like their cost of living is very low and they want as much money as possible and no matter what, they want more. Outliers. So those are like, that's a way to kind of think about the cost of living and quality of life. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But as for your basics, those are your basics. Rent, gas, electric, water, phone, health insurance, pension, and groceries. And so let's get back to the questions. The next question was, how does money work in Japan? Salaries, bonuses, etc. Well, I showed you my salary. What you did not see on there is bonus. And that's because I do not get a bonus. Now, so there are some industries that do. There are some teaching companies that do give out bonuses. But as for my company, they do not. Now, bonuses in general in Japanese companies are slowly but surely dying out, especially when you're talking about the coronavirus situation. There were 2 salarymen I was listening to, like at an izakaya. Izakaya is a bar, complaining about like, yo, I didn't get a bonuses here. This is BS. Blah 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 blah. In Japanese, of course. And the other guy was like, well, yeah, that's how it goes these days. Sorry, motorcycles in the background. Yeah, that's how it goes these days. You know, what can you do? So there is some expectation of bonuses that's going unfulfilled from even some Japanese workers. So the idea of getting a bonus to me is like, oh, that's great, but I've never had one in Japan, so I don't miss it. Yeah, let's stick with that, the bonus. As far as other things within your compensation package, we can talk about that. Like I actually have a list of things that I find to be benefits, and that is training. So especially with my particular company, we have a lot of portable training. What portable training is training that you get here that could be translated into other industries. Why that's important? Because if you were going into any industry as a new guy, probably you're going to need an internship first. This allows you to do your thing without needing to get an internship. Without needing to get into an internship. So when you don't need that internship and you can still make money, like this makes it easier for you to join an industry. So that portable training, those portable skills training, like that will help you get a job later on without having to do that unpaid internship, which people who come from a background where you're not affluent, you're not rich, we can't do unpaid internships. So this actually helps you with that. Secondly, there's a discount on language learning, which obviously living in Japan, language learning is an asset. So they provide a discounted service for that. Next is a visa. I know a lot of people who come to Japan and teach in Japan just so they can get their next visa, so they can get their next job. I'm not judging you. It's your thing, not mine. So a visa is actually a benefit if that's what you're trying to do. Next is housing. finding housing in Japan is incredibly difficult, especially if you're a foreigner. And when you're trying to find housing, you're having to deal with a system that you don't know, a currency that you're not like completely familiar with, initial costs that you're definitely not prepared for, as well as a system that's sort of xenophobic. So it's likely that some of those nice places that you really want, they're not going to want you. So, or they're going to ask you for more money to get in the door. So I think that having a business that actually takes care of your housing, that actually is quite helpful. Only problem is when you finish with that job, you have to find your own housing. So hopefully in the mean and between time, you're learning as much as you can about the real estate industry, so that when it's time to leave that company, you can find a place on your own. And lastly, I'm not going to talk too much about this one because the details aren't clear yet. The last one is your social insurance, your health care, and your pension being paid for. And that's starting as of this year's contract, so from April for me. So as I know more about that, I'll tell you more about it, but I don't know exactly how it's going to go. I don't know if my pay is going to lower and like they're going to pay for all that, or if we're going to split the difference. Much to be decided. So I'll let you guys know later on. So that's to answer the question from N24480 about money work in Japan, salary, bonus, etc. Let's see. Let's go to another question. I know money not. Oh, excuse me. And this is from Elias WR. I'm probably gonna butcher the names. I apologize. I know money is not everything, especially as a teacher. But how do you balance that when tutoring or teaching, for example? So how do I balance money and teaching? Well, I'm a poor example because 1, I have an additional income, and 2, I hate money, and 3, this is my calling. This is my passion. This is what I feel like I was made to do. While my father thinks that I was made to be the president of the United States, I believe that job sucks and I would rather be a teacher. So, no, but seriously, like teaching is my passion. It's what I love to do. I love storytelling and I love using those stories to tell lessons, and I love teaching my students to extrapolate the lessons from their life using English. That being said, my balance is like this. Do I make enough money to do what I love without stressing about it? Yes, I'm good. That's it. Now, if my lifestyle changed, then perhaps like that equation is going to change. It'll change to something like, do I have enough money to support my family and do the thing that I love doing? Yes, I'm good. Again, my metric is quite simple. Do I ask for more money? Yes. And I'm going to talk about that in the latter half. But do I need more money at this juncture? I do not. So I focus all my energy on the happiness I have doing the job, my effectiveness doing the job, and I leave the money talk for December through April. That's my negotiation period. That's when I sign my new contract. That's when I think about money. I'm right in that money period right now, which is why I wanted to talk to you guys about it. All right. Next question. Okay, so the next question is going to be something a bit of an argument, because the person that initially asked me this question, we ended up arguing about it. And their question was this. Do you believe that your previously stated opinion that some teachers are not or do not deserve a raise or shouldn't ask for a raise comes from a place of privilege due to your additional streams of income? This was their question. A little bit twisting of my words, but that was their question. So do I believe that that some teachers do not deserve a raise or should not ask for a raise comes from a place of privilege? No, it comes from a place of meritocracy. I believe in my bones that you should get what you deserve. What you deserve is based on what you do. So, in the particular case of teachers, if you are there, now, okay, let's back up. There's no standard. There is no standard from the government on what an assistant language teacher does. Zero. They have left it up to the individual boards of educations to make this determination, which is why you have 5 or 6 mega companies, or one mega company and 5 or 6 secondary companies that are making contracts with boards of educations, and there's such a disparity in the education level. And we can talk about the English curriculum another time, but boards of educations are making determinations based upon the curriculum that was thrusted upon them by the government and how much resources they have, who they can hire, how they can hire them, and how they're implemented in the classroom. There is no standard. Now that we have that out of the way, the lack of a standard means this. How do I judge that you are good at your job? Better yet, what is the base salary of an individual in your job set by the government? It's not set. Okay, so who sets it? The market sets it. The market determines what is the appropriate payment for a teacher. Not your public school teacher, but the teachers or the assistant language teachers, the teachers that are contracted out, the mercenary teachers in Japan. So if the market determines the cost, if the market determines the salary, then it's the lowest accepted salary by everyone. If everyone quit today and said that the accepted salary is 300,000 yen base, and no new foreigners came to Japan, no new foreigners accepted any jobs, no foreigner decided to go to work, everyone stopped, the market would change. Because if teachers are necessary goods, then you're going to pay whatever's necessary, right? Basic economics as far as that's concerned. But the demand for teachers is sort of high, but the supply of teachers is much, much higher. So the cost is going to be incredibly low. Again, basic economics. Again, this isn't talking about fairness yet. Now let's talk about fairness. There's no base salary, so everyone is paid about 215 base before taxes. At 215 base before taxes, do I feel like that's enough for people to live on? Depends on where you live. Do I feel like it's fair? What's fair? Let me posit this. If me and you have the same job, I'm a teacher, you're a teacher, but I'm busting my butt to get my students at the highest level of education. I'm giving them everything. I'm giving them all of my experiences, my 35 years of life. You're 24, average. So already we aren't the same. My experiences and your experiences are different. I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm saying I've experienced more things, so my experience in life, I can give them more. On top of that, I'm doing all of these things, and you come in at 8:15 and you leave at 4:45 on the dot. You're not saying extra, you're not doing extra, you're doing exactly what you're told to do, and that's it. Bare minimum. Should I get paid more, or should you get paid less? Who is the metric by what is fair? And if it's somewhere in the middle, are you getting paid too much for your job? Am I not getting paid enough for mine? How do we make an equitable assessment of what a standard pay is if there's no standard by which teachers are held? Further, how are you going to say that you deserve to be paid more, being paid more, if 1, you do the minimum, or 2, you don't even agree on what a standard workday is as far as that's concerned? And I'm taking myself out of that equation. I'm not the standard. I know that. Where I come from, what I do, how much I'm trying, what I don't need in a classroom, and what I provide to a classroom, I know I'm different. And I'm not saying I'm better. I'm just something else. I'm a different animal altogether. Is it fair? A lot of teachers will say it's not. My answer is you keep what you kill. You get what you demand, you get what you deserve. when I say you get what you deserve, what I'm saying is if you're asking for a certain cost, a certain price, if you're asking for a 5,000 yen raise, then you need to explain and you need to substantiate how your work has, like, should require them to pay you 5,000 yen more. What 5,000 yen more product are they getting from you? Now, I know a bunch of people are going to say, oh, but they should have been paying us this from the start. Got it. We're not talking about what they should pay you from the start, because you can't make everybody quit and you can't make that determination. Sorry. So, am I coming from a place of privilege by saying, oh, you can't demand this? I'm not saying you can't demand it. I'm saying you have to substantiate it if you do. And I don't think you can substantiate it. Like, you have to show profitability. The fact that what you do is worth 5,000 yen more than the basic guy. But you don't even know what basic means. Further, privilege. Privilege is something that I enjoy that word because it always, like, makes people angry. So whenever someone says that I'm privileged, I actually, like, giggle, because it means that you think that I have power over you. It means that you think that I am somehow above you, that I have some kind of leg up on you, which is hilarious because, like, where I'm from, this ain't a privilege. And now I'm in a place where I'm still not in a place of privilege, but I've done some stuff in the past, and now I'm retired, so I have a pension that's based on my medical health, and how then there's things that I can't do, and that's a privilege now. But that's not a privilege really, because I'm handicapped in a way. So, like, privilege is really, really, really subjective. Like, you think I make more money than you, so it's a privilege, but you don't realize that money is because, like, I have crippling headaches, like, that keep me in the bed, so my quality of life is lower because of that. And so the government has to take care of me for the rest of my life because they're the ones who did it. Privilege? No. All right. We have some more things. Don't worry. Like, we're not going to end on a sour note. What am I doing? Not this. This. So I wanted to go more into what this person said because I thought it was interesting and I think it's important. When we're talking about the costs of living in Japan, like, and how we're going to change that kind of conversation behind the cost of living. Here's the thing, man. Like, there are people who are living in 20 square meter apartments that pay just as much as I do. For my I guess 1-bedroom apartment, it's really 2DK. 2 rooms with a dining room and a kitchen. And I pay like 1,250 yen for my apartment. Like, in the end, you're gonna have to make some, like, decisions about how you want to live and what you want to do with your money. Now, I have a system for my money, all of my money, and that's how I live my life. I live my life within my system, and your system's going to dictate that. If you don't have a system and your money's all over the place, it doesn't matter how much money someone's going to give you. Like, you're not going to be able to keep track of your cost of living because you don't even know. Like, so I don't like to have this conversation about money. One, because I view talking about money as a way of either A, devaluing myself, or B, devaluing somebody else, and I just don't like that. And also, people feel like they have a leg up on me or they can treat me like trash because I don't make enough money, quote unquote. To which I reply, what have you done in your life that's actually going to be significant in 15 years? Like, if you have no happiness, if you've made no mark on this world other than the mark in your checkbook. And checkbooks, that's archaic. All that to say this. Like, we can talk about money and you can get mad about money, but really at the end of the day, you need to be concerned with your value as a human being. And if your value as a human being is based on how much money you make, no matter how much money you make, I don't really think you value yourself. I don't want anybody to struggle. I don't want anybody to suffer because they're doing a job. I know that the reason why this system exists is because there are so many people who want to come to Japan, and they'll accept anything to come here. I mean, they'll accept complete garbaggio to come here. And that sucks, because whatever Japan is to them is worth suffering for. And I love Japan. I don't know if I love it enough to force anybody to suffer. And also, the people that are here are also have their own situations. And I understand that everybody's individual situation is different. And I don't want anybody to suffer, and I don't want anybody to be unhappy. But we have to be honest about what's going on here. We have to be honest about what we bring to the table. And we got to be honest about how the market works. And if you're not taking into account all of these things while having this conversation, and you're just saying, I want more money and I want it now, then we're not really having a conversation. You're just yelling at a wall. All right, so let me know what you think. That was a lot of talking. I mean, I think it was like, yeah, it's 30 minutes. So anyway, as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends if you prefer. I do look forward to having a conversation about like some of the things we talked about. This is a long video. If you want to catch some daily life stuff, of course, hit me up on Instagram. It's Dante Dakata on Instagram. Mini vlogs, all that jazz are going on over there. And we talk about the topics for the next week's conversation. Until then, there are stories everywhere. And I'm happy that you're a part of mine. Every second that you give me makes you a part of my story, and I appreciate that. So next time, I'm Dante. This is Dante Dakata. See ya.